This is my mock presentation on what is musical dissonance and can videos on musical dissonance be used effectively as a teaching tool for Key Stage 3 students. It's a bit of a mouthful of a question, but I decided to eventually collaborate this huge title because of the number of things that I wanted to do.
Okay, thank you. No thanks.
I originally started with what is musical dissonance, and it eventually came out into this, and I'm going to tell you why. So, for those who don't know, musical dissonance is inharmonious or harsh sound. So basically when someone plays two notes on a piano and they sound dreadful and you want to do bad things to them. But why did I pick musical dissonance is quite an interesting thing. I did this little collage of me. You've got maths, I do maths, further maths and physics, so I was quite interested in the background of possibly why it happened from a maths base. You've got harmonics, which is from physics. I also play the ukulele and sing in a octet. Someone's just been cropped out there, unfortunately. And I'm also into music production, and it annoys me when sound doesn't sound nice, so I wanted to know why and see if there are any tricks to stop it, possibly. So I did a quick diagram of what I thought I could find on the internet, what I knew already, and I realised that this section was slightly more in depth than any other, so I created another one. And I was reading through it, I was happy, I was thinking I might be able to put more down on this paper, but I thought, how am I going to research all of these different aspects? Because the amount of things that I thought about before researching, if I found anything interesting if I found things interesting while researching, I might research into them and then lose my way about, and just it could blow out of proportion. So I cut down the things that I cut it down to what I thought I definitely wanted to research, and I found some main links, which were maths, physics, biology and music in that little diagram. I then created a little plan. So I did, in biology, I was going to research, no, in June I was going to research biology. In July I was going to research maths, physics and music. August I was going to ask people and work out what kind of artefact I wanted to do, because I knew I didn't want to do a long written one because I'm not very good at them. So I wanted to work out what I was going to do there, and then September I was going to collaborate everything, and it was going to be fan-dabby-daisy. So here's my original plan. I'm not expecting you to read it, but just as a sense of scale, as I went through, I wrote everything down that I was doing in just little one, maybe two sentence things throughout, and my plan ended up slightly longer than I'd expected it to. So, yeah, plan thorough. This was mainly down to my video. I worked out that I really was into doing videos because I did something for music technology, and I liked filming and editing and stuff, so I wanted to look into that, which took up a lot of time. With my title, I've used the word effectively, which is quite a vague word, and how do I prove that my videos are effective or not was another thing that I had to look down. Resources, I used mainly the internet, and I kept everything quite high tech, and I kept everything on the internet, as I'll tell you later. I did try and look through some books. I went to the library and I went down and paid 20p or 50p or whatever it is to order some books in, and they didn't come. I went to the library a couple of times and they just didn't have them, and by the time that they possibly could have come, I had done the research because they took silly amounts of time. I then went down the people. I then thought I'd go down the people route and maybe ask a music teacher, ask another lot of people. In the end, I think I've got written down that I evaluated 23 different online sources, which varies from universities to YouTube, basically. But my favourite bit of research was this little flow diagram that I worked out with my brother-in-law, who's an MA student in philosophy and education, and we worked out what effectively actually means and how I could incorporate a survey into that. And yeah, that was really interesting, and it was nice to walk through it with somebody and to get specifics off of someone, so you didn't have to rifle through lots of text, and you could ask a question and you would get an answer straight away. How I collaborated everything. I collaborated it all on my website, which is epqdissonance.weebly.com if you fancy having a look. It's basically just got my master plan, which I talked you through, but probably in more detail. Development, which is how I've changed throughout, so all of the different spider diagrams that you saw. Dissonance research, which is where I did the masses of research on dissonance, and I evaluated everything as I went through, and that was all dandy. And then video and education research, which I added quite late on because I didn't realise that I needed to research the effectivity until I thought I probably should, because otherwise I'm not going to come out with anything useful. So in the end, I guess you have to ask, what have I learned? I've learned quite a lot about researching and how long it takes. I was quite accurate with how long it would take me to research the things, but then how long it took to make videos, which is slightly more abstract. It took me a lot longer than I thought I would, and I didn't realise that I'd need all of the equipment that I did, which I had to borrow from school, which I could only do during certain times. Did I meet my goal? I'm not sure if I've met my goal yet, because I've made all of the videos but I haven't shown them yet, so I can't say conclusively whether it was effective. What would I do differently? I would probably plan ahead lots. I did little plans as I went through and said, oh, I've chopped and changed this, but I didn't sit down and think, okay, I'm going to do these videos, here are all of my scripts, here's how I'm going to evaluate them, now let's go and make them. I kind of did it as I went along, which was quite nice because I had lots of space and time to just work through and knit it into my regime, but it wasn't as structured as I may have liked, which would be quite nice. And what's been significant, probably the final product of the videos. I'm quite pleased with most of them, and yeah, I would show you one, but I don't want to embarrass myself, so thank you for listening. Have you got any questions?
One from me to start us off, I think.
Yeah.
And one that we thought about before, I suppose, but what would you do if you had the chance to take this further, so this project work?
If I had the chance to take this further, I'd have the basis of what I've got already would be quite easy to add on to because of my website. I could easily update it all, and I could do further research into possibly other fields, or even try and build it up into a lot. Currently I've got 3 videos, but I could make, say, several more videos so I could teach more in depth, because I had to cut down quite a lot of the information because it was mainly university standard, and I wanted to teach Key Stage 3 students so I could build up their knowledge to beyond my own. So,
and what skill do you think you've developed most significantly, as in what has personally developed the most during the course of this project?
time management, definitely. because my subjects at the moment don't require me to manage my time as much as others. For example, I know English, you get given a huge slab of a book and you have to read it, and you don't want to be doing that overnight. Whereas maths, I can just do a couple of questions and then kind of get it into my head, and I know, and I can cheat and get around it, whereas you can't really with this. You have to read everything and rifle through it. And it was good to plan my time and to know that I had to research this much before then and fit it in. I thought of that.
And anything from either of you question-wise? No, it's okay. The one other thing I was thinking of, if you were going to pass on one piece of advice to the next year's PGC, a kind of personal reflection, what would that be?
I think the bit that scuppered me a lot was not doing a little bit of research before I planned everything. Because I had an idea and then I went out into the big wide world and I thought, hang on, I don't want to do this. I only changed it a little bit, but potentially it could have been the other side of the world.
So what would be the advice to the EPQ candidate?
Have a think about what you want to do, research it a little bit, and then come up with your plan, your master design.